shit. And welcome to the Contemporary Comrades podcast. It's your boy Heavy J. We had to start off with a little bit of Bullet for My Valentine. You feel me? That song takes us back to middle school?
Something like it had to be like early middle school. Yeah,
middle school, man. We was rocking out to that shit we were rocking out to that shit for a long time, bro. Just so y'all know.
Yeah.
A long fucking time. And it still hits the same as it did then. But anyway, it's your boy Heavy J. We're the fucking Comrades, man. It's Corn. Say what's up, bro. You know what it is.
It's fucking metal, man. Fucking metal, bro. It's another week here on Comrades, man. I'm glad to be here, man. As always.
Facts. Same. And it's fucking daylight when we're casting for once, which is a rarity. So, but that doesn't mean that the topics ain't gonna be dark. You feel me?
Oh my god.
But there's light within dark. There's light, right? Because without light, you would have no dark. But anyway, yeah, man. Tonight we're gonna talk about the shit that we pretty much. Tonight's theme is basically we fucking told you so. I mean, I guess that's kind of if there's a theme, it's we told you so, but we say it a little bit nicer. But tonight, we literally told you so. Everything we're talking about tonight is almost in a sense a continuation of last week's show, but with more. We'll talk about different things a little bit deeper, right? So, first topic we're going to go into is old Sleepyhead. Just as we warned you all about, not even 2 weeks ago, right, Corn? Not even 2 weeks ago, about a week ago, or less. Talked about the potential for Sleepyhead to enact executive action for gun control. And what do we have here? We have from the White House a fact sheet, because if you put fact in front of anything in your mainstream media, then that automatically becomes facts. But I guess since it's from the White House, this is their facts, right? Anyway, they announced today initial actions to address the gun violence public health epidemic. And you know what's weird, dude? I feel like they've been adding public health to everything lately. Like now you've got the pandemic racism, right? And then you've got the public health epidemic with gun violence. So it's like you see how they're wording public health and COVID, basically the itis. They're weaving it into the wording of things as well. Because again, as we talked about a year and a half ago when the shit first popped off, they were going to use this to push everything that they've been pushing. We told you all what this was going to be, what it's going to be a year and a half ago, really. But now we're seeing the verbiage come behind it. It's like everything is agenda plus public health, or agenda plus pandemic, or agenda plus the whatever other word they'll use for the itis or for the the pandemic or whatever. But anyway, the administration is going to announce 6 actions. So basically, he's going to pretty much do 6 executive orders to address this public health gun violence scam, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. So they talk about the shootings in Boulder, the shootings in Atlanta, yada yada yada, right? So today they rolled this plan out. This is fresh off the press today, like a few hours ago type shit. Because we saw yesterday where they said they were going to announce it today, so we figured we'd talk about it today. So basically, Sleepyhead is reiterating his call for Congress to pass legislation. But they say here, this administration will not wait for Congress to act. So the administration is announcing the following 6 initial actions. You know how they slyly worded initial actions. They're not saying executive order, which is what is going to be behind these actions, but these are initial actions. So the first one, within 30 days, the Justice Department will issue a proposed rule to help stop the proliferation of, quote, ghost guns. And if y'all don't know what a ghost gun is, these are your 80% gun kits. And an 80% gun kit is basically what the legal definition of a firearm is a lot of times the lower receiver of said firearm. And these lower receivers are not manufactured to a point where they're considered a functioning firearm. So they're sold as about 80% complete. So hence the 80% craze. You know, you've got the P80 kits, you've got the 80% AR-15 lowers, you got the 80% Glock lowers. You know, people build these guns all the time. It's been a thing. Nothing illegal about it. But the only thing that they don't like is they're unserialized. So there's no serial number attaching them to a person or anything. There's a manufacturer serial number, but not a national registry that the government can pull serial number. And of course, now let's keep in mind, none of these shootings have been by way of a, quote, ghost gun. Let's be clear on that before we even go any further. They're taking actions on guns that have not played a part in any of these shootings, which is what they're claiming they're taking these actions for. So let's get that straight first off. Second off, these are simply, look, the consumer finishes the rest of the manufacturing of the gun. You have to do your milling, you have to do your filing, you have to purchase the pieces separately and make sure it functions like a gun. So they're saying here, we're experiencing a growing problem. Criminals are buying kits containing nearly all of the components and directions for finishing a firearm within as little as 30 minutes and using these firearms to commit crimes. Where? I'll wait. I have not seen one news article in any of these shootings in the past 2 years that somebody has used a, quote, ghost gun to commit said crime. And who are they calling criminals? Because, as I've said, no criminal that I know is buying P80 kits and have the proper tools to sit there and fucking mill out the fucking holes you need to mill out and file off the pieces on the slide you got to file off and all this other stuff. Not to mention you got to buy the rest of the parts for the gun. So, again, I ask what criminals are doing this shit. Anyway, they're saying that these firearms, I guess, turn up at crime scenes, and of course they can't be traced because there's no serial number, which is what I just mentioned. The Justice Department will issue a proposed rule to help stop the proliferation. So your polymer 80 companies, all your 80% lower companies, which these things are popular at gun shows as well. You can go to a gun show, pick up an 80%, pick up all the parts you need to make a gun for $200 to $400. But that's America. You know what I mean? That's America, if you ask me. But that's what everybody wants, and that's what everybody has the provisions to be able to do, right? Via the Constitution. Next one here, Corn. You got any thoughts on the ghost gun before I go to the next little executive action they're going to do here?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So within 60 days. So they're going to keep in mind, they're going for quote unquote ghost guns within the next 30 days. So within the next 60 days, they will issue a proposed rule to make clear when a device marketed as a stabilizing brace effectively turns a pistol into a short-barreled rifle subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act. So this has been a hot topic in the gun community as well. If nobody knows what this is, essentially, as currently defined, there's a sort of legal gray area, but sort of not at the same time, where you can have an AR-15 with an 11.5-inch barrel or shorter. That it can be legally classified as a pistol if you have a pistol brace and you do not shoulder the rifle. So a pistol brace essentially like mounts to your arm right here, and it straps to your arm. That's how it's supposed to work, and you're supposed to shoot it one-handed. But the manufacturers make them so that you can shoulder it like a short-barreled pistol. So you can shoulder. It's basically a shouldered pistol. That's how people use them. So they're trying to ban that, and that's been a hot topic of discussion. The ATF actually not too long ago, probably 5-6 months ago, actually tried to put a stop to that and tried to criminalize instantly 10 million Americans who own these things. Basically saying that they now legally owned short-barreled rifles. And if you own a short-barrel rifle, guess what? You have to register it within the National Firearms Act. So the government knows that you have a short-barrel rifle, and you have to be authorized to own such a thing. So they says the alleged shooter in the Boulder tragedy appears to have used a pistol with an arm brace, which can make a firearm more stable and accurate while still being concealable. Which again is true. They have folding braces. You can unfold the brace and shoulder it like a fucking SWAT team type shit. But again, all legal. So they're stopping that.
And then they're stopping at what, in 60 days?
In 60 days, they will make clear what is defined as such. Because like I said, there's a great
so now they don't even have a definition of what it is.
No.
They're saying, hey, we're coming up with our bullshit now.
Yes. And
there are got 60 days.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are over 10 million Americans right now that have pistols, that have pistols with braces like that. Like shorter, like a rifle caliber pistols, but with shorter barrels, and they use this brace instead of a rifle stock. That's basically what they're trying to ban. Next one here. Within 60 days, they will publish a red flag legislation for certain states depending on the model of the gun. So this red flag law is a really big deal for a lot of people because it will ban the sales of certain firearms based on the model. Canada already has something like this. They brought something like this into law after their my screen might have died here. They brought there we go. They brought something like that into law after that mass shooting where the guy we did a cast on, the guy traveled like 7 provinces and was just shooting people left and right.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck you ain't catch him after number 3? You know what I'm saying? But, yeah. But anyway, that's a different story. But so Canada introduced a red flag law throughout their entire country after that happened. So no surprise, we're going to try and follow suit with something shitty as that and make a red flag law for make some models of firearms. Then the fifth one here, they're investing in evidence-based community violence interventions. So I don't really know what the fuck this is or what this is supposed to be. But they're trying to reduce quote unquote gun violence in urban communities through tools other than incarceration. So Sleepyhead Harris administration is going to essentially invest in some fucking community violence intervention programs and a webinar and toolkit on how to educate states how they can use Medicaid to reimburse community violence programs. So what this is basically doing is this is just more government inside of states' business. This is like, here, come. Well, here, you can use Medicaid that half the population already isn't going to get. Let's further destroy it. Here, you can use this to fucking reimburse here, use this as a reimbursement for your fucking centers that we're going to make you build with this executive action. Which that has a lot of different things behind it, involving some economic impacts that are negative, in my opinion. But that's not what we're talking about right now. And of course, they're going to make changes to these programs and just sticking their nose in states' business, sticking their nose in just more government control, basically, just more via executive order, so everybody has to comply. And the next one here, they're going to issue an annual report on firearms trafficking. Like, I'm surprised they don't do that anyway. But the last one, I find one of the most interesting, and this is how I know that they are planning to take your guns. Sleepyhead will nominate David Chapman to serve as director of the ATF. Who is David Chapman, you ask? Well, we can show you a picture of him. We can do that. Because why not, right? Let's see what we're dealing with. I'll show you a picture of him real quick here. I got that country internet. Y'all bear with me. Not this guy. Not the dude who freaking killed fucking here we go. Let's see if we can get a picture of him in this article. Not that David Chapman. No, I guess we can't. Oh, yeah, there he is. This guy. I don't know if you can see the side of his head there, but yeah, him. That guy. David Chapman. He's a retired ATF guy, but Sleepyhead is going to appoint him back again. And what he's a part of is the Giffords Law Center Prevention of Gun Violence. It's a NPO, nonprofit organization, and their agenda is anti-Second Amendment specifically. They talk about gun laws here. They talk about universal background checks. They talk about firearm prohibitions. If you can go to their Second Amendment shit here. Their interpretation of the Second Amendment is skewed to benefit what they're trying to push, which is essentially to get rid of guns. And I encourage you all to go check out Giffords.org to look more into what they do. This isn't about them specifically, but this guy is a part of that, and he's being appointed to the director of the ATF. So you can imagine that seems a little bit of conflict of interest, but that doesn't matter nowadays because governing America seems to be the wild, wild west as of current. So Corn, what are your thoughts? I know it was a mouthful of shit there, but that's what they got planned for guns within the next pretty much 2 months. You got any initial thoughts, bro?
Yeah, it seems like they don't have their minds fully up. They don't have their minds like fully made up yet. I feel like there's a lot of shit they're trying to get done in a short amount of time, and honestly, it's not like we didn't see this coming. We talked about this for quite some time about how they're going to be coming out with these rollouts. Every time I keep telling you guys,
facts.
It's going to be a lot faster than we think it is. It's going to come a lot sooner than we think it is. And lo and behold, what did they announce yesterday that was going to be happening today? And what did Biden do today? He pretty much had this was the first rollout of what. And again, this isn't all on Biden. This isn't Biden's terrible party or anything like that. This is he's the face of this, but he's not the one that came up with this. This is the big picture, the big agenda. This is going to be pushed regardless whether he was here or not. He's just he's the face they put on it. It's look, 60 days. It's not a long time.
No, it's not.
This is. I cannot wait. I want to say I cannot wait, but I cannot wait to see what their next rollout is because it's going to be something stupid. I mean, we already have the whole brace thing is stupid. I don't really get into like the technicalities of like, this type of gun, that type of gun. I'm just for freedom of being able to have what you would want to have. So I don't have too much to say about like the technicalities of like this type of gun, that type of gun, the barrel, all that other stuff. But look, the government seems to know exactly what the fuck they're trying to take away from us. And the most dangerous part is that they're saying, we don't know what's going to happen in 60 days, but just be prepared that these are the things that these are the, things that we're going to be targeting when coming for your guns. So they basically just gave us the blueprint with this article. They basically just gave the blueprint with Biden's rollout today of the quote unquote executive order.
Yeah. And if I can add a point about the technicalities, this is how I know that this isn't to stop mass shootings or crime. This is to restrict the gun rights of the law-abiding citizens. Because if the criminal who leaves his gun at the crime scene for the cops to pick up doesn't care about technicalities. Like they're the only people who care about the technicalities and the barrel length and who are really having to play this game are the enthusiasts. The law-abiding guns, the law-abiding citizens who are into firearms.
The ones who are at the gun range.
Exactly. The ones who are at the gun range. Yeah. Crafting, skilling up the craft.
Yeah.
Practicing, making sure they're more proficient. But that's how I know that this is never really to alleviate anything because they create the problem. They create the reaction. Then they create this bullshit solution right here. Or
where do you think
stones to their quote unquote solution?
Where do you think the future of gun ranges are after 2021?
Oof, shit.
Because I can tell, look, man, I don't want to speak this into existence, but I can't help but to think that there are going to be some protests probably in 2021 at gun ranges, because I've been seeing people having these arguments on Twitter, of course, Twitter. Toxic Twitter, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
I've been seeing these arguments of people saying, like, why should you go to the gun range if you don't need to shoot if you don't plan on killing anyone? Why do you need to do this? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we see the crimes that are going on in America. Again, I'm not here to spell out. We sound like a broken record at this point when talking about this kind of stuff. But like, look, if you cannot see the difference between going to the gun range, shooting, honing into your craft, whether you do it for a hobby or whether you are just gearing up to protect yourself, whether you want to better protect yourself, whether it's with a pistol or whatever, right? There's a difference between that and people that pick up guns because they're angry or pick up guns because they feel whatever kind of way towards society or towards other people and want to bring harm to people and want to kill people and shit like that. There's a huge difference between those people.
Yeah.
And, you know, the fact that, you know, we see these stupid asses on Twitter going on Twitter saying, oh, you know, why go to the gun range? Why do you need to go to the gun range if you don't use your gun outside of the gun range? And it's like, this is what the world has come to, is we have these kind of idiots in the world. And guess what? They're winning. They're winning right now. They're making gun owners seem like they're a fucking joke for wanting to own a gun, wanting to express their right to own a gun.
And you know why? It's because they've got the media behind them. They're puppets. They're fucking bots.
Even without the media behind them, they would do it to get the media behind them if the media wasn't already on their sides.
Well, tell me this though: if the media was pro Second Amendment, how smart would they look? How much pull would they have? None.
You'd still have those trolls, but they wouldn't be. Yeah, you're right. They wouldn't be as prevalent because the media wouldn't be on their side. Right. But you'd still have those fucking idiots out there.
I mean, for sure. But they wouldn't have like here. This is the thing that the media is doing. They're pushing idiocracy. They're rewarding idiocracy. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said before.
Like we've always said before. Like the more stupid something can be, or the more nonsensical something can be, or the more vague something can be, the more people seem to go along with it. Like they're like, oh yeah, that seems like it could be. Yeah, okay, yeah, I hate that too. Yeah, all right.
And the more common sense that we use, the more dumb we look for using it.
Ain't that a motherfucker? Ain't that a motherfucker, man?
Try telling your average person that there's only two genders. You'd be surprised at how many people would disagree with you.
Oof.
It's fucking crazy.
Open up that can of worms.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's stepping stone number one, really, of Sleepyhead's quote unquote gun violence. And you notice they like I said, they put public health epidemic in the title. Nothing in there mentioned public health. But they put it in the title to again say, oh yeah, COVID has caused this, or in some way it's a public health epidemic. So we've got to. Well, I guess they're saying public health epidemic from the perspective of like, I guess gun violence being a threat to public health. Is that right to say? Is that I don't know. I'm digging too much into that. But man, I mean, I don't have much else to say on this. Man, we'll see what the next 30 and 60 days have in store for this shit, and they might even do it further. And again, he said, I read you where they said from the White House, they're not going to wait on Congress to come to legislation on this. They're going to take executive action. So they said we're going to do what the fuck we want to do, just as Trump did, right? I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do, whether it benefits people or not. Because this is what we want to fucking push.
And they're going to do it regardless.
And it's all, and again, it's all part of the, it's par for the course. We told you it was going to happen. We told you it was going to happen 2 years ago. Since the very first cast we ever talked about guns on here. This has been in the works.
I'm telling you, they're going to start storming those fucking gun ranges, man. It's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. I'm calling it. It's going to happen in 2021. You're going to start seeing these protests and these rallies and shit happening at these gun ranges. And look, man, we saw what happened in the streets. When you get one side and the other side, you got one side protesting and the other side counter protesting. Imagine what's going to happen at a gun range in the United States of America.
Yep.
It's going to be crazy, man. And again, I'm not trying to speak into it. I'm really not trying to say like, oh, be on the lookout. This is going to happen and that's going to happen, and shooting and all that. No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. But I'm just saying, like, it's America, folks. Like, they protest anything. They protest any fucking thing. So it's bound to happen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we told you that they were going to do this. We told you that they were. I mean, everything like we said. And it's not the specific instances, but it's very clear. If it's not clear to you now, let's put it this way: it's not clear to you now that these mass shootings serve as a means to an end to push this narrative that they have long been trying to push. They've been trying to disarm America for like 40 years. All right, just so y'all know, like this is nothing new that they've been trying to do. They've been slowly chiseling away. The heaviest hits were Reagan and Clinton. You had the automatic firearms ban, and then when the fucking what was it called? The what was it called? Where'd it go? Lost my train of thought. Yeah, the freaking act that you have to register all your short barreled rifles and shit. That one. When that came out back in the day. Like, it's just been slowly chiseling away and banning certain things here and there, and it's just like been this slow process of picking the freedom apart. And these are some bigger chisels here, and then it'll come to the point where they're going to be like, okay, look, we're going to do a national registration, and we're going to go door to door, or they might even do a buyback program. They might do it. They might say, hey, just come turn it in. We'll give you a little bit of money back for it. And the average person who doesn't want the hassle, you think they're going to turn their gun in? And so let me ask you this: do you think that the average American that you've ever come in contact with in your reality would turn in their gun if they said, "Hey, we got a buyback program. We'll buy it back. We'll say hypothetically, we'll give you what you paid for it back." You think they turn it in?
That's a tough question because it is guns. It's a firearm. Right. I'm gonna go with no.
I don't think I'm gonna go with no as well. I really don't think they would. Or I'll tell you what, the type of gun owner who would be the person who got it solely. They bought like a revolver 5 years ago and they never shot it, and they're like, "Well, fuck it, I don't use it. Whatever. I'd rather not deal with the hassle." That'd be the type of person to turn them in. If I feel like, but first off, any enthusiast is not going to turn it in. Any country bumpkin is not going to turn it in. So that leaves a very select few people, in my opinion, that would ever turn in a firearm to the government or to an FFL, which will then send it to the government. So, yeah, I don't know if that would even work either. So, like you said, man, they might have to fucking like Sleepyhead said, we want door to door confiscations eventually, and. I think these are just more steps to that, because then you got to enforce this shit too, right? And how you going to enforce it? That's going to be the real thing, because this is all just like you said. This is all a lot of hopes and dreams that they have right now. Within this amount of days, we're going to do something like this. There's no real concrete how. So that's what we really got to watch out for. How are they going to enforce this shit? But yeah, man. Any final words on this gun shit, man?
No, man. Just be prepared for some fuckery to be coming. That's all I can really say, man.
Yep. Be prepared for the fuckery. And if you're coming in, we appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit the like and all that good shit. Let us know if you're in the building. Drop us a comment or three. Whatever you like to do. But we'll go ahead and roll into the next fucking topic here. So remember how last week they had blood in shoes? Y'all remember that? And people was defending that? Now this week, you got blood in your makeup. And you got injectable blood. Young blood. Just let that sink in. But let me just say, is this not the same organization that was calling a certain group of people crazy for saying that this was actually happening? And I'm not one of those groups of people. So you're telling me that this week but now we're gonna champion it because it can slow aging. I find that interesting as well. But anyways, this is a very long article, so I'm just going to read a little bit of each section of it because I will actually drop this in the chat if anybody is curious to read this, because this is extremely long and we're not going to go through all. We don't have time. A lot of shit. But basically, so yeah, the links are in the chat for you all. Basically, there's this firm called Griffolds, which is basically they closed on this $146 million deal to buy this company called Alkahest, which basically revealed in these scientific papers from 2011 and 2014 that the blood from young mice had miraculous restorative effects on the brains of elderly mice. So that's the premise, is that basically blood transfusions from younger beings into older people will somehow reverse aging. Now, I'm hesitant to get into the tinfoil hats behind this, because YouTube will do some fuck shit. This is why, again, like Corn said, we might do a fucking Patreon, because there's a whole lot that could be said about this, but we kind of like to keep the channel up. We kind of like to do that. We'll get into a little bit of that. So essentially, they said that the idea here is nothing new. Until recently, they say that people working on diseases did not think that aging was modifiable, but now, this guy from the National Institute of Health basically says that they are. This guy right here. He was the director of the aging biology division at the National Institute of Health. So this guy is a guy who pretty much is championing a lot of this shit. He's got some bothered eyes, bro. I don't know about you. This guy got some bothered eyes.
Bothered eyes?
Yeah. Yeah. He got some bothered eyes. Maybe it's just old. Maybe, but he should be doing his anti-aging shit, right? He could be 112. How would we know? He using his own shit. He could be 112. I'd be curious to see how old he is.
Cutting from his own supply. That's what he's doing.
Right. So this idea of this is the idea of mitochondrial health, and young cells bringing life and breeding the new cells, and I guess mixing in with the older cells. But I thought all cells had a life and died anyway. So I guess there's some sort of aging characteristic within cells as the vessel, I guess the body gets older. It creates different types of cells that are old. I guess that's the premise behind this. But basically here, they're basically what they're doing is this is a whole lot of a justification for putting young people's blood into old people's bodies to stop aging. And we showed you all the video, not what was it, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, or if not less, where Steve Harvey wigged out because they had children's blood in a makeup product. Y'all remember that? Corn, you remember that?
Yep.
So here we are again. With now they're just going out and saying, yeah, we're just going to use the blood. We're not even going to act like it's some. We're not even going to act like it's going to be this whole thing with this product. We're just going to straight up inject the blood or suck the blood out of the next, whatever the fuck these motherfuckers do. Basically. So they go into the adaptation of the genes, and they use basically they're going into how insulin is used, basically cues our cells to absorb sugar and do all this other bullshit with this with these adaptations with this blood. And they're going on and on about aging, and aging drives disease and all this other stuff. So they're touting this as anti-aging will not only cure brain activity, but it can also cure diseases that happen when you get older, because technically your body will seem younger because of this. Now, just on some, I don't know who the hell this is, but just on some principled shit.
That's Miss Garber.
I'm weak. That does look like Miss Garber, dude. Just like a little skinnier. I'm weak. Oh man, that was one of our teachers back in the day.
The whole dissident.
Yeah. But just on some principles type shit. How do you feel about this, Corn? Like before even getting more to the like just the principle of, okay, we're taking blood from somebody younger, right? And we're going to put that in somebody older. Now, for the sake of stopping aging. Now we already seen the steps with AI that they're trying to take to put you in this artificial reality after you die, and use AI and all this other shit to like try and monitor all your shit so that you can predict illnesses before they happen and all this other sort of shit, to like all this prolonging bullshit. What are your thoughts on sort of like the base morality of this topic, man?
Well, like you said, we're taking AI now and trying to prolong life.
Facts.
We're taking other sources of technology and trying to get inside the human mind to pretty much duplicate the human mind and put it elsewhere and create something that's quote unquote living. Now we're getting in a sense of, hey, this is a more quote unquote natural, because I can totally see the bullshit rollout that they're going to try and pull. It's going to be a more natural way of doing things, right? It's a more natural process other than, it's an alternative, a natural alternative to the AI bullshit that they're going to be doing to our minds. Hell, that they're already doing to our minds, right? Into our bodies, which we're going to get into with the Facebook shit, right? But you're talking about putting human blood inside of another, like, this isn't just like a blood transfusion or whatever, like no, nothing like, no, this is something worse. Something way fucking worse. Because now you're talking about taking human blood to help you de-age, essentially.
Yeah.
So is this something that's even proven to keep someone alive longer, or just to make like look better, right?
Both. It is proven to revitalize cells. It is proven to speed up the healing process of cells. So I'll read this little part right here. So they say, to test out this hypothesis, this guy, where's this guy at? This guy named Rando.
Rando.
Literally. He conjoined in the lab. He conjoined elderly mice with younger rodents so that they shared the same circulatory system. Then he tested their ability to heal small wounds. And it says the results were dramatic. It says elderly mice were able to repair small tears in their muscles far faster than their peers not conjoined to younger mice. And the younger mice, on the other hand, healed far slower than they normally would. So they basically say that this suggests that stem cells could be revitalized simply by reintroducing them back into the bloodstream, the molecules present in young blood that could turn them on. So that's a crazy fucking thing right there. So basically, they're saying that the cell, like there are certain molecules in blood that's younger that are not in blood that's older, that essentially revitalizes the cell. And they're trying to harness, and they figured this out, and they're harnessing this to reverse aging and all this other bullshit. So I think that kind of answers a little bit of the evidence behind that. But dude, like, this shit is fucked, man. Like, I don't like, can we just leave each other the fuck alone? Like,
if you bring this,
I thought they didn't want humans around anymore anyway. That's what I thought it was. I thought we all supposed to be robots any fucking way. Why are they trying to? Or maybe this is research for the powers that be. Maybe they're saying this is what we're doing to keep ourselves alive, but not you plebes.
This is gonna be open to certain classes.
Exactly.
When this rollout comes out, so it's not going to be open to everybody. I mean, it may be open to everybody. It's going to cost literally probably an arm and a leg and probably some other blood. So I don't think it's going to be open to just your average person. I think this is definitely going to be for like your upper class citizens.
Yeah.
people that want to your Kris Jenners and your those kind of people, right? Look, at the end of the day, when I look at the fact that you're putting blood and young blood inside of someone, let's say 98, to prolong their life, hell, I don't even care if it's even for a year or two.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why we are just dipping into unnatural shit just to be doing it at this point. Like, whose bright idea was it to say, hey, let's start the prolonged life? Let's start putting blood of who knows whether it's, younger generation of 20-year-olds or teens or baby, who the fuck knows? But it's younger blood, right? So why the fuck? I don't know, man. This is stupid. It's stupid. Because their rollout's going to be, hey, you 17-year-old guardian of your 70 or 80-year-old grandparent. Well, guess what? You want your grandparent to live longer? Well, here's this blood, or quote unquote, as they've said in the entertainment industry, in certain materials, serum.
Yep.
And hey, it's $20,000 for this. Guess what that 17-year-old is going to do? Because their 70-year-old or 80-year-old grandparent took care of them their whole life, and they don't want to see their grandparent go. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to take out a $20,000 loan to keep their grandparent alive. And guess what that loan is going to be for? This.
Yep. It's
going to be for this. And again, man, like, who am I to say that, we should not prolong life, for this person should not try and prolong life for their parent or for their grandparent or, great uncle or aunt or whatever, right? But at the same time, it's like, fam, you don't know, first of all, much like the vaccines, we don't even know what the side effects of these are.
Oh, we know the side effects.
They're only telling us the good part of this. They're only telling us, hey, this magical serum that we're coming out with, it's with young human blood. So let's go ahead and roll this out. You want to keep your grandparent alive, right? You want to keep your mom and pappy alive, right? Your auntie and uncle alive, right? This is going to be their fucking rollout. It's going to be a stupid ass commercial with an old grandparent. You know how they do those pill commercials, right? They're all laughing, running around, and here are the side effects, and then they go to the side effects super fucking fast, like it's a fucking auction.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to be.
But here's the part that confuses me. It's like, I thought we were in the business of destroying humans. Like, I thought we were in the business of, and I say we, I mean, the powers that should not be, thought that the modus operandi was, let's eradicate as much of these motherfuckers through diseases that we facilitate via the environment that we give these people. That's what I thought that the modus operandi was. Now we're seeing, oh, well, here's how you can prolong life. But I guess that's a way to capitalize on every aspect of, society they create for people. It's like, we'll make you sick, we'll heal you, we'll make you poor, we'll make you rich, but it's all at our discretion. And that's how they want you to fucking think about it. Like, it's all.
But it's a money business though. It's still, the healthcare industry is still the money business. So whatever. Yes. Well, like, while they're trying to eliminate us as humans, they're still trying to capitalize on us, hoping to still be alive. So again, like I said, we don't know the side effects of this bullshit either. And again, not everyone's going to be able to even afford this. It's not like this is going to be like something you can go to your doctor and say, hey, I'm 90 years old and I'm dying. If I give you $50, I can go pick up, my human serum down at Walgreens for $50. Like, it's not going to be anything. Like, it's going to be a whole fucking procedure, like a whole actual it's going to be. Again, we don't know the cost of this shit, but I would assume it's going to be over $20,000.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fucking at least
it's going to be expensive as fuck. Like, that, not everybody's going to want to be. People can't even afford to bury their own loved ones. Like, niggas ain't going to be able to afford to. They can barely afford medical bill. Some of them can't even afford to keep their loved ones, on the in the hospital. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they need to be cared for. So not everybody's going to be able to afford this. Like it's not going to be a $50 fucking, needle of human blood. Although,
Yeah.
Lil Nas X's shoes were, these are going to be much, much more expensive.
Yeah.
Much more expensive.
Absolutely. And they're saying that, they said that, it seems likely that this new class of drugs will win approval, to be on the shelves, before too long. This is one of the guys that, help push this shit along.
Now that guy does look weird.
Do you think he uses anti-aging serum? You think he's like 127?
He looks like his teeth are wooden, bro.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. So they have there's another type of blood drug, anti-aging drugs as they're called Xenolytics, which aim to clear out quote unquote zombie-like senescent cells that accumulate with age. So they're also doing trials doing clinical trials with this sort of drug. So basically, those cells are basically cells that have stopped dividing and secrete pro-inflammatory factors that suppress the normal mechanisms of cell repair and create a toxic environment for their neighbors. So they're literally like, this is just ridiculous, man. All this gene modification, gene editing, and no surprise that the jab, the jab is this is just crumbs of what the technology is using. The jab is the CRISPR technology, which I'm gonna upload a video aside from this about a doctor who was jailed because he he used the technology behind the jab to essentially like create I'm not even gonna say, but it involves artificial humans. We'll put it that way. And make sure y'all pay attention when that video drops, because that's going to be. And he used the CRISPR technology, which I went over in another video in January we dropped, which is the technology behind the jab. So he used this technology to essentially create this artificial human. But we'll get into that later. That's a whole different story. But all this stuff is sort of intertwined. Like we're using the quote cutting edge of technology and the quote cutting edge of the medical industry to reverse aging, to try and essentially have cells express themselves in a different way throughout your entire body to act as if it's going to give you some resistance against some fucking itis, or or to genetically modify crops so that they express themselves in certain ways and produce a different type of resistance to a bug or a pesticide or whatever. All this technology is used in the same sort of ways for all of life, really, which is to modify it to fit the needs of whatever the fuck the modifier wants. And now we have these capabilities, and now they're being tested on people in real time, in real life, without proper approval from the FDA. Not that it really matters a fuck, but it's not even been approved. It's not even been through its bullshit legal processes. And they're saying, get this or else. So it's all under the same umbrella, if you ask me. Corn, what are you got any other thoughts on this shit, man? I mean, this is a very, very long article. I'm not, like I said, I didn't want to read the whole thing, but there's a lot packed in it. If you're all curious, the link's in the chat. There's going to
be a lot of things that they're going to need to do in order to prolong life more than just this serum. But and I know I keep calling it serum just because I learned that word, and it's pretty much what it is. And other sources of material. But you're gonna need more than just this serum to stay long. Like this isn't a comic book movie. Like you're gonna need other things to keep you afloat physically and internally in terms of like your organs and shit like that. At let's say at that elderly age, between like 80, I'd say, and 110, probably. Fair assessment.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that's I wonder if they're going to have like an age number goal, or if they're going to have a length of longing pause.
Because this rollout is going to be like, even looking at this picture is fucking sick. But this rollout's going to be for old people. But who's to say that 5 years from now, it's not going to be, hey, you can get this once you get your first wrinkle, once you get your first gray hair. Guess what? You can take this. That's where it's gonna get freaky, right?
Yeah,
That's where it's going to get fucking weird. It's when you got your average 35-year-old taking this shit because they don't want to de-age, because they don't like gray hairs, because they don't want to age naturally. Look, man, there's certain, and this actually leads into one of the things that I've been saying for a long time, is that people don't know how to, and this isn't about LGBTQ, elemental P or anything like that. This isn't about being a man or a woman or anything like that. This is about being a fucking human being. Is that we don't know how to accept ourselves just as who we are. And I don't mean that as like this, stupid ass statement that every overweight woman uses or anything like that. I mean, legitly comfortable with yourself just as a person, as who you are, period. Mm-hmm. We have an issue in society in 2021 where it seems like most people do not like who they are. They do not accept who they are, whether it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or physically.
Thanks.
Or all. It doesn't matter. People are going to use this. Yeah. That's why they do this stupid shit. That's why they're making this rollout. That's why they're not afraid now to have these underlining fucking agendas behind every fucking thing that they release out into the world through media. That's why we talked about last week. Nike shot themselves in the foot. They said they only shot themselves in the foot because they got caught. They got caught with being in the same name or being in the same sentence as Lil Nas X.
Yep.
And then they realized, oh shit, we fucked up for denouncing Lil Nas X, because we have all these people that are saying they're boycotting us because of that. So now we're waiting. We're fucking waiting for the fucking walk back, for Nike's walk back. We're waiting on that.
Yep.
If it hasn't happened already.
I haven't seen it.
And that's just one example. That's just one of the things that's happened in the media, in the world, with our society, where we clearly see shit is fucked.
Yeah.
No one is sitting here asking to have this de-aging bullshit. But now it's out there. So guess what's going to happen next? Like I said earlier, you're going to have your Kris Jenners out there. I'm not saying her specifically. I'm just saying like that kind of stature, like that, someone on that level of, financially. They can do this now. This is a thing now. It's going to start up to just like everything else. Back in the 80s, who were the people with the cell phones? Now look who has a cell phone. Every fucking body has a cell phone.
Yep. And hey,
same thing with computers and laptops. Same thing with flat screen. I remember back, dude, we're old enough to remember when flat screen TVs were such a rarity.
Yeah.
Now you can go down to your pawn shop and get one for $35.
Yep. And
so what do you think is going to happen with these fucking serums? What do you think is going to happen with these fucking serums?
Yeah, give it.
It's going to start at up here. Only this class can get it. Only a certain amount of people can get it. What's going to happen 5 years later or 10 years later? People like you and me are going to be able to get it. Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And for what?
Hey man, the powers that should not be, they're revealing themselves to us. They constantly are, right? Anyway, but they're not holding much back anymore.
No,
they're not being subtle about it. They're depending on who calls it out, it's either bullshit or it's the new trend to hack aging. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we could go on the other side of this topic, but YouTube ain't playing it. Like I said, we might have to say that for another day. But they're not holding any punches anymore. They're saying, look, they're basically saying, like I say every cast almost, these people are so fucking dumb, they're so brainwashed. We've got them under such control. We can now start to openly say the shit we've been doing behind closed doors for centuries, because we've got people dumbed down enough now to where we can go ahead and just champion it and get them to join along and and further the demise of society, right? Because now we don't have to hide it anymore. Now we can get more people to do it willingly, which is exactly what the fuck's happening. But they'll tout it as, oh, it'll help you with anti-aging. It'll help you with you'll regain your memory back, and you'll have you'll it's all this shit that everybody has said privately. Oh, I wish I could. Oh, I wish I felt like I did 20 years ago, and I wish this and I wish that. And it's like, when the reality is you can do that if you change the way you eat, change the way you view things, and change your mindset on yourself. You can do that. Or you can buy a fucking serum that corrupt government says and corrupt medical industry says is great for anti-aging, involving young people's blood. Again,
that's the biggest question: is where's the blood coming from?
Young.
That's all they said.
That's how they shield it. They're not saying baby, which is what everybody knows it is. They're saying young, and that's just a little hint for y'all. They ain't saying baby, because we all know that's where it's coming from.
And I was talking to someone, a close friend last night on the phone, and he even said it. He's like, look, man, you guys have been saying for a while all this shit was happening. He's like, I'm just now starting to see all this stuff going on. He's like, I'm just now starting to see this stuff and thinking this is not normal. I'm like, dude, look, man, I was in the same position you were 5 or 6 years ago, man. Like this stuff is not fucking natural. It's not meant for the human body in any aspect, whether physical, mental, all that bullshit. None of that. It's not meant for any of that, and we're doing it. We're feeding all that stuff into us physically. We're feeding all that stuff into us mentally, feeding all that shit into us emotionally, which does affect us spiritually. This is not a fucking drill. This is not a fucking game. Yep. They are out here trying to destroy the human race by telling us they're going to help it. I'm here to tell you.
Bingo.
And I am here to tell you. And take this with a grain of salt, or take this as you will. But you are better off dying naturally. You're better off dying at whatever the fuck age you're gonna die at, rather than trying to salvage what you have left.
Facts.
Rather than trying to, of course, everybody would want one more day on Earth. Like, of course, we're not stupid. But that's why they do this shit, because it sounds cool, because it sounds good, because it is something that's like, oh wow, I did not think that was really gonna be a thing. Well, guess what? It's real, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? They're going to roll it out to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? You guys are going to feed into the bullshit.
Yep.
And it's crazy that my brother I was talking to last night, he's like, it's just a matter. He told me this. It's just a matter of time before they start normalizing pedophilia, before they start normalizing sexual assault, before they start normalizing, what's the other thing he said? I think he said like bestiality or some shit, right? Like, it's only a matter of time before they start normalizing that bullshit.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm like, bro, you're right.
They're revealing themselves.
We're on the cusp of that.
Facts.
We are.
Facts.
And it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying we should be storming the Capitol or any bullshit like that, but we need to stand up for what the fuck we believe in. For the little bit of freedom we have left, we got to stand up for it. Whether it's what we do here on the podcast, or whether it's people voicing their opinions online, or whether it's people calling their local government and getting their voice heard. Whatever you got to do, or whatever you want to do, fucking do it. Let them know that we're not here for the fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
We're not here for all this fuck shit going on.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the only people who are going to be in shackles and chains are the very same people who are complaining about the shackles and chains from 200, 300 years ago when we weren't even fucking alive. It's going to be the same fucking people.
Oh, man. We going there. You ain't wrong. Everybody,
Same fucking people.
Yeah, and that's what you just mentioned. That's a symptom of looking too much. I wouldn't say looking too much into the past, but getting.
No, you're right.
Looking too much in the past, but also, yeah, like there's been 4 or 5 generations since then. Like we have a new reality we need to fucking create for ourselves.
That's what I'm saying, and that's the fucking problem. It's like, dude, we have so much to offer as a generation and just as a society in this day and age, but yet we got our heads so far up our asses about stupid shit.
Yeah, that's 100%, bro.
Oh, they shouldn't teach this because 200 years ago this happened and it still triggers me and I feel bad, blah, blah, blah. And you got people over here, you got white people over here talking about white guilt and shit. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, jeez Louise.
And then you got people saying that, oh, if you don't believe in white guilt, then you're a like, no, like you shouldn't feel guilty for something you did not do, period.
Facts.
Period. Let's move the fuck on from the past because there's way too much shit going on. There's way too many people that have creative minds in this day and age to have it wasted on stupid shit.
But Corn, you can't move on from the past unless you get rid of all the statues of all the racists. Duh. That's the banter that you get. That's the banter that you get. People like I always say, man. People too busy being focused on the leaves of the tree instead of how the tree grew, what the tree grew from. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Let's not focus on that because that requires work. That requires effort and action. Let's not do that. Let's just whine about the fucking leaves, saying that the leaves are this and leaves are that. Let's get rid of the leaves. Well, you still got the fucking tree there. It's just gonna grow more. And guess what that's gonna do? Trigger you again.
Yep.
Or it's gonna trick you into thinking that it's over with when it's not. But this is the type of shit that this is the type of shit that we find this is the conundrum that people put themselves in. They don't even fucking realize it. Like it's like literally 9 out of 10 things people bitch about, in my opinion, actually I would say 10 out of 10 things that people bitch about are symptoms of a greater issue. And nobody wants to talk about the greater issue. Everybody wants to talk about the symptoms and try and come up with these ways to mitigate the symptoms. And that's how we operate. We operate on symptom mitigation. Because whether it's medically, whether it's monetarily, whether it's societally, no matter what, all we do is treat symptoms. We're just a symptom treating society. Like, oh, there's some racism there. Okay, we'll take down some statues and call white people evil. Okay, that'll fix your racism. Okay, what's next? Oh, you sick? You got cancer? Oh, well, here we'll vaporize every cell in your body and it'll kill the good ones and the bad ones. But hey, you might not have cancer anymore. Okay, what else? Oh, and that might give you a different kind of cancer later on in life. Ask me how I know. Anyways, okay, so what else what symptom we're gonna fix now? Oh, you can't afford groceries anymore because inflation is rising because we're printing dollars like rabbits take shits. Oh, don't worry about it. We'll give you some stimulus checks. That'll make everything better. Okay, what else? What other symptom you need fixed? Like this is all we fucking do, is fix symptoms of the greater problem. And the thing that creates the problem is the one that's giving you the problem, making you think the way you think, and then giving you the solution based on the problem. This is all they've been doing. That's all they've been fucking doing. And people still can't. They still can't fathom that. They still can't understand that. They still can't get that. We say this shit every show. In every show, if we get somebody new, they're not aware of that. And no diss to nobody, but facts. Like it's like, I don't know, man. But hey, maybe when shit really hits the fan, people will realize. I only have hope that when push does come to shove with all this shit, that maybe, just maybe, there's one little speck of human left in these fucking droids that run around calling themselves people that push this shit. Maybe there's just one speck of human left in them where when shit really hits the fan, they might say, "Oh fuck!" It might just all hit them like, "Holy shit, I got duped." That's just my only hope. That's my only hope because aside from that, it's over with. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. Aside from that, so the only hope is that when we get to that point, whenever it is, you can speculate all day, all night. It don't matter. It's gonna be when it's gonna be. I just hope that they can find that little human left in them and say, wait a minute, all right, this is fucked up. Let's do something else, and we'll see what happens.
It won't.
I was trying to end it on a hopeful note, but
okay. Yeah, I mean, we hope.
But I mean, you're not wrong, bro. Like it probably won't. Like I said, like we say, everybody's gone, bro. It's fucking gone.
Yeah, dude, you got to see some of this shit on Twitter, bro. Like people are fucking nuts. Like they're done for,
bro.
We're done for,
bro. Let me. I gotta say this on the air. So I went on a hike yesterday. I'm up. Now keep in mind, I'm up, 5,600 feet in the air, right? There are people hiking in the wilderness with masks on. People hiking outdoors in mid 70s degree temperature on a mountain with masks on. And not only that, if you didn't have a mask on, they was looking at you crazy. But here's a glimmer of hope with that though, is that a lot of people didn't have masks on, which you fucking shouldn't if you're out in nature on a
outside.
Fucking hike at altitude. You don't need a mask. You just look like a fucking idiot. But that's how deep it goes, bro. People feel inclined to wear a mask 5,000 plus feet in the air on a hike because they think they're gonna catch something. Make that make sense to me. It just I was really expecting to not see a single fucking mask. Well, I can't say that. I was surprised at how many masks that I saw. We'll put it that way. I was expecting to see him on some old people, but I saw him on older people, on younger people more than older people. I only saw one elderly couple with masks on. Everybody else that had masks on were my age or younger. In between 18, we'll say 0 to 30. And then the families who had who had their shit on too. But it was like there was really only one elderly couple that I saw with masks on. Everybody else was young, and I thought it was wild, man. I really thought that shit was wild. I'm like, y'all really out here, but that's how deep it goes, man. So like people like that, there's no hope for, in my opinion. Ain't nobody ever gonna get through people. You never gonna get through to them people. Like honestly, if you up there with a mask on, that tells me everything I need to know.
I'm surprised they weren't double masking.
And it's not like it wasn't an easy hike. Like it's not like there's some, you really got all these ailments and all this other shit. Like on that hike, bitch was straight uphill. So I mean, I don't know, man. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. Pause. But anyways, but man, y'all want to go into this Facebook fuckery, this fuckbook fuckery, I should say. Any final words on blood rituals being normalized to the public? Because that's really what we're dealing with here.
No, again, just to reiterate what I said earlier, like this is nothing. It's surprising how fast they're coming out with this bullshit, but it's nothing new, right?
Yeah,
it's nothing new. It's hey, we're coming out with this rollout to make older people look younger again. But that's not the end goal for them. First of all, their first goal is to make money, period. Because we already know that the government is in the business of not only, I think the only business they're in more than destroying the human race is money. And I think however they can capitalize on making the most money before we are all extinct, before they kill us all, the more the better. I agree. Because remember, I don't think they're trying to get rid of all of humanity. I think they're trying to get rid of majority of humanity, which to me, I think is even worse.
Yeah, bro. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right on that.
I think we're going to start seeing the war of classism more and more as the government exposes themselves and not giving a fuck as they expose themselves. That's, again, this is the most dangerous shit that's happening in our lives right now, fam.
Yep.
Is when the big bad G comes out and exposes themselves and says, hey, we're pushing all these agendas. We're throwing all this bullshit at you. And like I said before, and I'll say it a million times more, they're throwing everything at the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Yep. Seeing what sticks. And the sad part is a lot of the shit's sticking, bro.
A lot of it's fucking sticking.
The nasty shit's sticking too. Pause. You feel me? Like,
a lot of it's fucking sticking. And that's the worst part right there. Is there the government saying we don't care about these conspiracy, we don't care what they think anymore. We don't care what anybody thinks anymore. We're gonna come out with all this nasty shit, all this weird shit, and see if people are actually gonna fucking pay their money for it.
Yep.
The AI bullshit, they're gonna kill us. This agenda bullshit, they're gonna get us to kill ourselves or kill each other. You know what I mean?
And enslave us at the same time. Enslave
at the same time. This law shit with the guns is so that they can disarm us, and then, yep, you guessed it, kill us. This vaccine bullshit is to medically, yep, you guessed it, kill us. What else? What do we got? What else we got? The robot bullshit.
Yeah.
They're to not just replace us, but kill us.
Oh man.
All this human brain shit, it's to what? Modify us. And then, yep, you guessed it, kill us.
I'm laughing because it's so sad. That's why I'm laughing. Shout out to Creed Link. He said outside with masks on, question mark? Yeah, bro.
Hey, Creed Link, did you wash your brain today?
Shout out to Creed Link, man.
Yeah, shout out, man.
Yeah, but yeah, they were outside with masks on, hiking, with very, very few humans around. Yeah, that was what I witnessed on a fucking hike. One guy in particular, it was kind of funny. I'll just leave this last little story. He was like standing. It was kind of like this oddly dystopian sort of imagery that I got from it. He was standing up on. I got me and Prepo. I was sitting there. We were sitting on a rock eating like apples and shit, and looked up and the dude's like standing up on like one of the higher points, and he's got his hands in his pockets and he's like looking over the horizon with his mask on, and it was just like so elegantly dystopian. It was like this guy's like contemplating life, but he's sitting there with a fucking mask on. It was just like one of those weird things that you gotta kind of like you look at and you just like do exactly what you're doing, Corn. Just kind of look at it and shake your head and like, holy shit, man! Like this is where we're at right now. I'm up here. We're literally up here amongst hawks flying around, playing with themselves, chattering in the air, bro. That's where we at. We're up there with the hawks and shit, chilling. And this guy's sitting here with hands in his pockets, like thinking about life, like you could tell he was contemplating a lot of shit. Like he just had that, you know what I'm saying, that energy behind it. And then but he's sitting there with his mask on, like what do you like? It's just one of them head scratchers, bro. But yeah, man. Anyways, we'll get we're gonna get into the next.
Man, if what they're trying to get to, just to kind of let people in on a little something. What they're trying to get to is not to brainwash. That's why I always say, like, did you wash your brain today? Because they're trying to get us to brainwash ourselves at this point, and it's already working. Yeah, it's less work for them, so that they don't have to keep trying to brainwash us in all these different types of media, and every single avenue of a career that we're trying to have. And instead of doing that, they've got enough people brainwashed to now it's okay. Now you have your people to brain. Now you have other people amongst yourselves to help brainwash you, so you all can brainwash yourselves. That way we can throw all this nasty shit out, and you guys will fucking accept it. And guess what? In by January 2021, we've done it. We at it. It's sad, bro. It's fucking sad, man. It really is.
Yep. It's sad, but it's reality, at least perceived, and we have to navigate through it as such, I guess, right? So yeah, it's fucked. It's fucked. But we're gonna go on our last topic here, which is more fuckery, of course, but this time on behalf of Fuckbook themselves. Facebook is making a bracelet that lets you control computers with your brain. Yes. Oh, you thought that was sci-fi? You thought that was just in the movies? You thought that was just, theater? You forget that we create movies, right? So where do you think the ideas come from?
Crazy.
Anyway, this is from the MIT Technology Review, just so you know it's not bullshit. Fuckbook says that it created a wristband that translates motor signals from your brain so you can move a digital object just by thinking about it. That's cool, right? Everybody wants that, right? Courtney, want that, right?
No.
So how does it work? So the wristband, which looks like a clunky iPod on a strap, okay, uses sensors to detect movements you intend to make. It uses electromyography to interpret electrical activity from motor nerves as they send information from the brain to the hand. Jesus Christ. The company says the device would let you navigate augmented reality menus by just thinking about moving your finger to scroll. Now let's think about this for a second here, people. They're giving you augmented reality menus on Facebook so you can think about scrolling it, and therefore it will scroll. Just harness that in your brain for a second, bro. So just imagine yourself wanting to scroll on your phone, and then and then whatever augmented reality they provide for you ends up scrolling. And that's how this shit works. Can you imagine that?
No. This is, yeah.
And if you don't know what augmented reality is basically it overlays things into the real world. So virtual reality is completely virtual. Augmented reality is it mixes the virtual with the real. So it's augmented reality would be like the Black Mirror episodes where all the ratings pop up over the people's heads and shit as you walk by them on that rating episode. That's augmented reality. For those that don't know. Does it work the way Facebook claims? It says it's too soon to tell. It says the product is still in R&D at their internal Facebook reality labs. And there's no word on when it'll be released or how much it'll cost. But the fact is, they're using it, they're studying it, and it obviously works because they're talking about it, right? It's far enough along to make a headline about it with MIT, right? And just as in totalitarian fashion, they took notes from Google. Facebook acquired startup Control Labs in September for between $500 million and $1 billion. And they had been working on their own wrist-based EMG device. And at the press release, the guy made sure to say it's not mind control. He said this is coming from the part of the brain that controls motor information. Not
oh my gosh. It's not. Oh my god.
Shout out to Elise. She's throwing up. I feel you. I'm throwing up. I already threw up my mouth and swallowed the so, I can't be throwing up on live on the show, but you feel me? Shout out to Elise. Shout out to Lyle. Welcome back, bro. He says it does sound cool though. You guys have to admit. I don't know, bro. Look. Here's the thing with me. I work in IT. I should find this shit fascinating as fuck, right? I should be the one being like, "Oh, this is cool as fuck. I want to learn the technology behind. I know the technology behind this." While it might sound cool, what you're giving up in return for something being cool is your own sovereignty of your fucking body and your motor functions. Because now all the inner workings of your body and the inner workings of what makes you a human are being used to then manipulate something outside of yourself that you're not creating on your own. And that's a problem with me. I don't want to do that. I don't want my brain attached to a device that can then move shit and some augmented reality bullshit in my real life. I like reality. I like nature. I personally don't need or want this shit in my life, quite frankly. Now, like you said, this shit can be used, you can use this shit, I guess, for good or evil, whatever you want to call it. But to me, the basic premise of, okay, we're tapping into the finer, minute inner workings of you as a human being, and we're going to exploit that just so you can scroll a menu, or just so we can quote unquote make it easier for you to do technological bullshit. Like, that's the part that don't sit well with me. But I appreciate you on the comment. But yeah, in theory, yeah, it's cool if it didn't have that behind it. You feel me? Shout out to Elise. She says, of course it sounds cool. They've been putting it in front of our faces through cool superhero movies our whole lives. Facts. And Corey, that's true too. Facts on that. But yeah, man. Again, here, and I'm gonna read this one last part, and then we're gonna get into it. Unless you got something you want to say real quick.
Yeah. I want to reply to Elise.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the thing when it comes to superhero movie stuff, right? When it happens in superhero movie, because I get what she's saying. I've been saying that for the longest time. That's where I'm getting majority of my fucking theories from her, from the superhero movies. So she's right in that sense.
Yeah.
The problem is people don't know how to differentiate that in real life.
Yeah.
With superhero movies, yes, it looks cool, but they still give us the blueprint that it's not all good. That's the one thing that kind of confuses me with what real life people think, right? It's that we're taught through these superhero movies that it's not. They have these powers, but especially nowadays in these superhero movies, it's not like, oh, I have these powers, cool, yay. If you guys actually watch these movies, there's a reason why superhero movies are dark nowadays. They keep getting darker and darker. They're trying to tell us that you guys are fucking idiots. Human beings are fucking idiots for thinking that that having these superpowers is, yeah, it may be good in one light, but in another light, how you got them, the side effects of being a superhero. Look at the past few superhero movies that have come out, whether Marvel or DC. It's been all about, yes, you have the superhero, they defeat the bad guy, they defeat the villain, they get rid of him, blah, whatever. He's cool, yeah. But then there's another side. There's always that second part of the story where it's how they got their powers. It's what they're dealing with the side effects of those powers. Their loved ones always getting killed by something. You know what I mean? Like, it's such dark shit. And I think to myself a lot, why do people always think that having these powers in real life or having it be the ability to do the same things in real life through AI or whether through blood or whatever, right? Why do people still think it's cool to have those powers and still cool to at least think that you have those powers? I had a conversation last night about this kind of bullshit. Not necessarily this particular one, but about this bullshit of we keep feeding ourselves AI. We keep feeding ourselves all this stupid stuff, whether through our eyes, whether through it's something that we just continue to repeat every day that's not good for us, whether it's stuff that, we just put in our body. It doesn't matter. We keep enslaving ourselves in one way or another to where we become numb to this shit.
Yep.
We become numb to this. It's, now, and again, nothing against Lyle Rooks. I'm glad he said that because there's a lot of people I know. Hell, even when I first heard of this kind of stuff, I'm thinking, my first thought was, that does kind of sound cool, but how do they do it? What's the side effects? What happens after you're doing this for a certain amount of time, for hours at a time or days at a time or whatever? Then what happens? You forget who you are. You lose your identity of who you are. I'm not saying that's exactly what happens, but I would think that that's a side effect. I would think that is a side effect to a certain percentage of people that are going to be using this. Because we already have that through media. We already have where people don't know who the fuck they are because of the shit that they read online, because of the shit that people have normalized over the years. Now we're at this point. That when we get 10 years down the road and people have canceled themselves and PC'd themselves into not knowing who the fuck they are. Now
Thanks.
we live in a world, well, not now, but in 10 years from now, I'd say about roughly 5 or 10 years from now, we're going to live in a world where no one knows who the fuck they are legitly. Legitly do not know who they are, what they are.
I'd argue
even with the body parts on them.
Hey, man, you ain't wrong, bro. You ain't wrong. I would argue we're more than halfway there.
Yeah, but not to the point where everybody's lost.
I mean, true.
To where people legit don't really know. Like I think that because we always hear about screen time, right? Being in front of a computer, then being in front of a TV, then being in front of a phone, then being in front of video games, all this shit, right? Consistently, constantly, right? It's not good for you. Imagine this AI bullshit. I'm telling you guys, like, people don't pay attention enough to this VR stuff too much, man. But now we're starting to see this stuff. Now we're starting to see the bracelet wristband shit coming out here for Facebook.
Yeah.
Where you're going to start seeing people and their parents doing this shit. Because everybody's on fucking Facebook. I'm not, thank God. Because I'd probably have a lot more rants if I was on Facebook than I do on Twitter. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of shit that they're going to be pushing. At the end of the day, guess what 90% of people are going to be doing? This bullshit. Guaranteed. Easily.
100%. 100%, man. And I'm gonna read this one last part about it being a potential privacy pitfall. So Mark Zuckerberg himself has aggressively invested in augmented and virtual reality, recognizing that products like these can mean access to countless valuable data points. Oh, you don't say. That's pretty much what I was getting at. In the cafe example above, which I didn't read, by the way, the company and therefore advertisers could find out what kind of coffee you prefer, where you live, and by statistical deduction, your demographic, your health, and other personal information. Of course, right? Of course. And given the company's history with regard to privacy, there's some reason to be skeptical. Hell, even MIT themselves said that in their own fucking article. There's valuable reasons to be skeptical about this shit. You don't say, MIT. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, this, like I said, going back to what you said about, sort of losing, like not knowing who you are within this. I think this not only will you lose a bit of yourself in this by using something like this, you will then change who you are for the future with this, because I don't know if anybody's looked up studies about how the brain reacts to VR and AR stimuli. But it's a very hypersensitive. It's a very hyper. I don't know how to say it, but other than like hypersensitive reaction to these artificial things and mixing it with nature, and it's really just a trick on your mind to get you to. Well, basically, it's using your body's functions to produce a result on something that is basically implanted in your head for you that they want you to see. For instance, this Facebook menu. Like, I don't give that much of course, I haven't had a Facebook since 2012, but I certainly don't give as much of a fuck about Facebook to be wanting to be able to control it with my brain.
Yep.
And then in turn, they'll get the raw data directly from my head of my likes and dislikes. And that again, that bypasses being able to trick AI, because you can trick algorithms, you can trick AI based on what you look at, what you click, but knowing in your own head what you actually like, what you actually want to click, et cetera, et cetera. You can trick AI. But now they can get the data right from your head. Now they can get the data right before it even, as it's a thought, before it even becomes action into reality. They're already pulling that from you before you even put it to action. Now imagine the consequences of that. You know what I'm saying? Imagine what they can do with that sort of information. Oh, Minority Report. Does that sound familiar? Predicting crimes before they happen. Does that sound familiar to you all? That's going to come out of shit like this. You know what I'm saying?
Facebook's only the rollout.
Yeah, and they always want to do the little soft ass example of, oh, they can promote, they'll see what kind of coffee you like and see what kind of ads they can push you. No, it's way deeper than that, bro. Pause. It's way deeper than that.
Go back to the recommendations page on Instagram.
Yeah,
it's gonna take it to a whole new level with it connected to your mind at that point.
Facts. Shout out to Elise. She said we're not far off from a world like that. That's why you got to turn within and do that mirror work. Shout out to Form Run on the mirror work. If you don't know yourself 100%, AI will know you better than you know yourself. Big facts. Big facts on that whole message right there is big facts. We're gonna leave it up for a little bit, but yeah, man. So this is what we're getting at. iPads on your wrist that you can control with your mind, and they'll give you an augment. Could you imagine being one of these motherfuckers that volunteers for this? You want to say yes? Put an augmented reality menu in my head and let me control it with my brain.
100%. I could totally see this happening.
Yeah,
I could totally see this happening.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to look weird is when you start seeing people, because it's the same thing. Man, it's the fucking same argument I had about the fucking AirPods. The same argument I had about the fucking AirPods years ago. Yeah, you walk around college campus, you do not see a soul without them shits in. Yep. Hey, not one soul without them fucking white AirPod fucking looking things in somebody's ear. To where then when you're in college and in that kind of atmosphere, it's kind of tough to talk to people.
Yeah.
To engage with people. And that's why I found most of my struggle with trying to make friends in college was that. But amongst other things. But it's the same thing with this wrist thing. You're going to see a lot of people. It's going to be looking weird to us because we ain't got them. And we ain't getting them. So it's going to look weird to us seeing people with these wristwatches on just doing this out of nowhere.
No, don't do that. They don't have to do that, bro. They don't have to move a muscle. They think it and it happens on an augmented reality that nobody else can see but them. That's yeah. They don't even have to do this and that. Their brain, they do it via their brain. They sit here and think about it and it happens.
It's gonna be tough, man.
Yeah, man. Yo, I'm telling you, bro, this shit is fucked. and look, let's think about this. Let's just combine the last two topics. So you've got the ability to restructure genetics to express a certain way, and now you're able to harness the result of the genetics and interpret that to be able to manipulate an artificial menu. It could be an artificial anything, like to manipulate something that only your brain can perceive.
Yeah.
So just think of everything that can happen within that, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of the possibilities of how that could be used for good and how that could be used for evil. Whatever you perceive as such, right?
Facts. I mean, yeah. I mean, it does determine your perception of what's good and what's bad. Yeah, but
I mean, there's general right and wrong, right? I mean, there's general right.
Yeah,
but just for the sake of the argument, I'll say it however you perceive it.
This ain't good, man.
Nah, bro, this is not good. This is not good, man.
Because what?
Yeah, man. We're moving into murky waters, bro. We're moving into a rough terrain.
It's more than murky water, man. It's more than murky water. This is either a swamp or we're ass deep in the middle of the fucking Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
One of them two. Because, like I said, man, they're coming at us at every single angle.
Yeah.
Every single angle they're coming at us with. And now we're talking about the wristband stuff. Now we're talking about augmented reality. We just had a cast not too long ago talking about the simulation, talking about reality being a simulation.
Yep.
Now we're sitting here having a discussion about how they're going to do their rollout for these damn Facebook watches. For what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing this rollout for what? Because look,
So you can
it's
scroll
all,
a
it's all
menu.
part of the fucking game.
So
What'd you say?
that's what they're saying. So you can scroll a menu without your brain, quote unquote. That's what they're telling people this is for.
And people aren't using common fucking sense.
Exactly.
People are not using common fucking sense to say, hey, look, I don't mind using my finger to scroll through my phone for fucking Facebook.
Right.
But again, we are a lazy society. Niggas don't want to work. Niggas don't even want to lift a finger on their fucking phone for a menu.
Facts. And Facebook is catering to that. And that's just the base bullshit. That's just on the surface. That ain't even what we what they're basically really going to use that for. What that research is really going to yield in the long run. Nobody's thinking about that. They're just saying, "Oh, I can use this and move my Facebook with my brain. Cool. I'm about it."
Did you think they were ever going to consider that? Considering what people were doing last week with boycotting Nike?
Fuck no.
And the reasons that people boycotting Nike?
Fuck no.
Because I sure didn't.
Fuck no. Yeah, bro. That's just fucking wild. Shout out to Creelink. He says, "How much do they run for?" No pricing or release date yet. They mentioned in the article that it's still in just the research phases right now.
Creeley, you trying to cop one of them?
Right. Hey, Creeley, you trying to cop one?
I'll film it for you. I'll do I like doing a social experiments. So I'll film it for you if you get one.
Yeah. So Creeley, right here, Facebook acquired the startup that had really been working on this in 2019 between 500 million and $1 billion. So they bought the startup that was working on this originally, and of course, as they're just pulling a Google, like Google has done. They buy startup companies and they use their technology to push their agendas. This is the same thing Facebook's doing here. But no price yet. It's still in the testing phases. But this is an actual picture of the research prototype, apparently. So, yeah, it's some fuck shit. But shout out to Creelink. Man, any final words on this bullshit, dude? I think we pretty much we put this one to bed. You feel me? Well, not to bed, but we, because we'll have more examples of this shit. There'll be something that comes out next week about how this has progressed. Or next month about how this technology has progressed.
Or how Google hacks your webcams and shit. And
they've been doing that.
It'll be a publicly documented, saying, the leaks came out that Google admits to hacking everybody's webcams, and
it's already happened.
And Sony hacking all their all their PS5s.
Yeah,
man,
controllers and shit. Yeah, yeah.
Look, man. I mean, we already know what happens, but I'm talking about publicly leaking all this shit, saying that.
No, that's already been publicly leaked for Google.
Yeah, but not. I'm talking about like where a lot of people are talking about it, not just.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah. I mean, that's all I pretty much got, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that commented and shit, but.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I just want to say, basically, I'm in agreement with Corn, but again, like, we gotta watch out for this kind of shit, man. You gotta think a different way about this kind of shit, because they're counting on you to not. They're counting on you to be ignorant to what you're doing, just because it may look cool, or it might be shiny object, or it might be the latest in tech, so you feel like you have to have it to feel like a valued person, or whatever the fuck. Like, just think twice before you just try to randomly just jump into shit like this. And I would say that even with something that's common nowadays as an Amazon Alexa. All right, because the moment you allow AI into your home, that's pretty much it. Because you're going to get addicted to it. they're going to start to scrape every single bit of information about you that they can't already get from your cell phone, from your, everything that you look at, everything you touch on your phone. Like, let's not get it twisted. These companies have technology in these cameras that watch where your eyes go. It's like you don't even have to click on something, but they see what your eyes look at, and they tailor shit to you based off of that. Like, they know what's on the page, they know where your eyes looking at, and they put things together with this technology. So this is already used just to basically make them more money on that level. So imagine the levels that they're trying to change generations of people with. Imagine the technology being on that level and how that goes. It's like, always put all that shit in perspective when you see shit like this, because that's basically how the powers that should not be are going to try and use this shit. History has shown us that, and we've documented that history on this podcast. So, but yeah, man, that's really all I got to say.
Yeah, and whenever you see this technology shit, man, just remember, you ain't Jermaine Dupri or Debrat. You ain't got to have it. Right?
Yeah, that's facts. That is facts. But yeah, man, it's been fucking Contemporary Comrades, man. I think we're gonna hang it up here. We're gonna rock it out with some Focus the Truth. We'll leave y'all with a little bit of hip hop. We started off with the metal, but I'm feeling hip hoppy on the end here, so we'll play some hip hop. And thanks for watching Contemporary Comrades. Thanks for listening. Thanks for everybody who commented. Shout out to Lyle. Shout out to Elise. Shout out to Creed Link. Feel me? Thank y'all for coming back through.
Contemporary Comrades up there too.
Yeah, and shout out to and shout out to Heavy J for the link drop. But yeah, we definitely appreciate y'all coming through and commenting, letting us know you're live and you're not just in the clouds, cursing us out behind the screen where we can't hear and see you. You feel me? So, but yeah, man, we're gonna if y'all want to vibe out to us.
John from America's kicking and screaming right now.
I'm sure John. Yeah, shout out to John. We ain't seen John in a while, man. John, if you listening, bro, come back through in the comments, bro. We need your input, man. But yeah, man, we're gonna vibe out to some Focus the Truth. Tracks called Days of Our Lives. And with that being said, man, it's been a Contemporary Comrades. Thank y'all for coming through. And we're gonna have to go ahead and catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
Whole lot of gang shit, that's codependent. Loyalty makes co-defendants, trying to make my own agenda. Better when I mind my business, different strokes for different folks. Laughing, but it ain't a joke, coughing like I'm about to choke. OZM the master smoke, byproduct of Queens, New York. Both parent household, my friends grew without those. Had to keep my mouth closed. Henny like it's potion, can't divide us, not a quotient. A OG told me never make decisions off emotion. Not here for back and forth, it's nothing like the US Open. If I dream it, then I get it. All I needed was devotion. If you want it, then you gotta speak. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Trying to practice what I preach. All my dreams within my reach. Gotta place your hand out, but not accept the handouts. I'd rather take the man route. Can't sit down when you stand out. Thoughts become reality. Just gotta write the plan out. And then you sit back, give it time and watch it pan out. Days of our lives, foolish pride to the side. Not everybody lives, but everybody dies. Not everybody wins, but still you got to try. In the end, you see the universe conspires on your side. Don't keep your third eye blind. Things all come together, swear it just takes time. Don't keep your third eye blind. Things all come together, swear it just takes time. Hustlers praying for a flip, alkies praying for a fifth. And them fakes you call friends, probably praying on your bitch. I ain't saying you should trip, all I'm saying that is if it actually happens, that could probably turn into your greatest gift. Get to see shit as it is, and not how they pretend to be. Tricked out my reality, worst way of offending me. Our enemies, jealousies, the recipe for hatred. The remedy, serenity, amongst all of the danger. Cool under pressure, I could probably teach a lecture how the worst circumstances turn into your greatest blessing. All scars not cosmetic, shit happens, can't regret it. Live with it, in the future probably see it made you.
Shit goes. I hope y'all paying attention to what this man's saying.
Retro Nikes, trying to offer crumbs, no longer let it entice me. People try their hardest, but never could they spite me. This is God's plan, and stopping it is unlikely. Days of our lives, foolish pride to the side. Not everybody lives, but everybody dies. Not everybody wins, but still you gotta try. In the end, you see the universe conspires on your side. Don't keep your third eye blind. Things all come together, swear it just takes time. Don't keep your third eye blind. Shit all come together. Yo. Like that.
And we out, y'all.
Woo.
Peace and chicken grease.